the most confusing part for students in completing question number 10 is choosing the angles that combine to give you 5 pi over 12. So I'm going to give myself some room here. I know that when I use the McFarland method or butterfly method, whatever you want to call it, I know that these two numbers on the bottom must multiply to give me 12. So that's an easy one. When we think about our common angles, we have 6, 4, and 3. So 4 and 3 would be the automatic. Now I need to decide what values go up on top so that when I multiply by 4, so I'm going to have 4 times some number, and this is where we're going to call this a different number. So let's call this A and let's call this B. So I'm going to have 4 times A subtract 3 times B. It has to equal 5 pi. So 4 times what times pi minus 3 times B times pi equals 5 pi. So how do we choose values for A and B to end up with 5 pi? Well, let's think of this right now. Let's just try options like 1. Well, 4 minus 3 would give you a 1 pi, not a 5 pi. Now, if that was going to be free subtracting, what if we were adding? 4 plus 3, 4, if this is just a 1 and a 1, 4 plus 3 gives you a 7. Okay, let's try a 2 and a 1. Let's start with A being a 2. If A was a 2, we have 8 pi. So 8 pi minus what quantity gives us a 5 pi? 8 minus 3. So then I would need B to be a 1. Let's make sure 8 pi minus 3 pi does give it a 5 pi. So I want the A to be a 2, and I want the B to be a 1. So let's just make sure here. I have 8 pi subtract 3 pi all over 12. That does work out. So how does that help me here? We're going to have the cosine of 2 pi over 3 subtract 1 pi over 4 equals, I'm going to grab that cheat sheet. When I'm subtracting with cosines, it's going to be cosine cosine plus sine sine. So the cosine of 2/3 pi times the cosine of 1/4 pi. And I just want to make sure here that we are then going to add the sine of 2/3 pi times the sine of 1/4 pi. Okay, what is the cosine of 2/3 pi? The cosine of 2/3 pi is negative 1/2. The cosine of 1/4 pi is going to be radical 2 over 2. The sine of 2/3 pi is going to be a positive radical 3 over 2. And the sine of 1 pi over 4 is going to be another positive radical 2 over 2. So here, when I multiply, I end up with negative radical 2 over 4 plus radical 6 over 4. Now, whether you write it in this order or you reverse the order, as long as the negative sign remains with the square root of 2 and the positive sign remains with the 6, you can leave it like this, or you can even, push it together if that's what you choose. So it could be like negative square root of 2 plus 6 over 4, or maybe you want to write it as 6 minus the square root of 2 over 4. They're equivalent answers.